Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why you haven't signed your first SMMA client. From having spoken to hundreds of agency owners at this point, I've literally compiled all the reasons that I've heard why people don't sign that first client and they never get that big breakthrough that actually allows them to scale their social media marketing agency. And so what I want to do in this video is share with you all the reasons that I've seen why people are not signing their first SMMA client, and also share my personal experience and the number one thing that actually prevented me from signing my first ever SMMA client back in the day. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, as always, I've got my notebook with me and I've divided the video into two main sections. In the first section, I'm going to be talking about skills. What are the skills or the lack of skills that are preventing you from signing that first SMMA client? And the second section is going to be the persona, the character. What are some of the traits that are preventing you from leveling up to the next level and really changing your life for the better? So I'm really excited for that last part of the video because a lot of people just focus purely on the skills side of things. And yes, that's incredibly important, but it's very important as well that we focus on the persona, your character, because that really plays a massive role in your success as an entrepreneur in any business model, not just SMMA. And what I would say, guys, and this is not really an opinion that a lot of people put forward, but for me, yes, the money was important. When I got started with social media marketing agency, I wanted to level up my income and get to a point where I never had to worry about money, and also where I could take care of my loved ones. That for me was the main thing, right? And also having that financial freedom, and yes, doing some cool things, right? Like traveling and going to nice restaurants and just doing cool things with my loved ones and friends, right? But for me, one of the things that I find most satisfaction in is the personal development. And what a lot of people don't realize is not so much how much money you make during the process, it's more about the person you become, right? And the reason why that is because as you develop yourself, you'll be able to tap into new levels of life, into new caliber of people that you meet, into new experiences that you didn't even know of because you were stuck in a lower energy level. And so in a nutshell, for me, it was really important, the person that I became throughout the whole journey, because that you can take with, that will always be with you during the whole journey. If you go bankrupt, for example, you can lose all your money, but you won't lose the person that you've become during the whole journey. That is why you see a lot of very rich people and millionaires who have gone bankrupt get back to the top very quickly because they are the type of person that attracts abundance into their life. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's talk about skills. First thing that I want to talk about is signing clients is directly correlated to the amount of meetings you are landing on a daily basis. And I've done a lot of videos on this topic. I've literally shown you guys how last month I booked in 111 meetings. You can see that here on my Acuity scheduling. So I'm booking in a lot of meetings because I've built a system that is pretty much automated and can churn out client meetings pretty much on autopilot at this point. One of these skills that has been incredibly important for me to do that is not only the actual building the system and the actual automation side of things, but also the email copy. And with the email copy, especially for beginners, if you're just starting out in SMMA, obviously I recommend that you guys learn about copywriting and how to write compelling copy that gets people to take a desired action. But the main thing about the copy and messaging copy and the email copy, whatever you want to call it, is the call to action. You need to make sure that your call to action is a no-brainer for the prospect. You have to ask yourself, what are some of the things that could prevent the prospect from not booking in a meeting with you? And the main thing for them is, number one, they're scared of wasting their time, right? They do not want to jump on a call with someone who's going to waste their time. So how can you make sure that with your email copy and your call to action, they know that they're not going to be wasting their time? What are some of the ways that you can build social proof, authority, so that it's almost a no-brainer and they see the same value in the actual meeting? Okay. And the second thing that I've come to realize through my journey is they are scared of not connecting with you, not resonating with you, right, as a person, right? Because if you take a look at social dynamics, we tend to move away from situations where we're going to be uncomfortable. And the main reason for that feeling is they do not want to spend time with someone who they're not going to connect with. So what are some of the ways that they can see your character, your persona, the way you handle yourself, the way you carry yourself, right? So that they know that this guy's professional and they get a glimpse into your personality and they say, okay, yes, I'm going to resonate with this person. I'm at least going to be able to have a productive conversation with this person. There's many ways that you can do this. That is why I recommend video edit is a great tool of doing that. Having some sort of video component in the sales process. Even a voice message is better than just a simple message. To have them understand your tonality, you can actually tell a lot about a person through just their tonality. And also, and this is not as beginner friendly, you can do this through content. If they see a video just like this, right, you can get a bit of a glimpse into my personality and the way I carry myself and kind of my overall vibe. Yes, you might not know me personally, right, but through the video, you can kind of get a glimpse into my personality. So that is really the first thing that you need to keep in mind. You need to make sure that your call to action addresses these two fears. The second thing is the platform. Are you playing to your strengths? For example, if you write very good copy, then your thing might be messaging and email, right? If you're very good in front of camera, but you can't really write, then your thing is probably going to involve some sort of video during the sales process, right? So make sure that you're playing to your strengths. The second thing is, have you identified the typical day of your prospect? And this should come through niche research. You should know where your prospect likes to hang out, what type of people they usually connect with, etc., etc. That way, not only can you find them, but you can find them where they're most receptive. So you really want to make sure that you understand their typical day and you stay away from those platforms where they're not going to be as receptive and where they're a bit overwhelmed, because then your message is not going to land as well. Number 3 is the data. Are you taking a look at what is coming back? Are you being scientific? Are you actually taking a look at what is working and what is not? Are you testing different things? The first few months is where you should be testing the most amount of things, because you don't really know what works. You should be A/B testing, split testing, email copy, headlines, platforms, call to actions, different funnels, different sales process. That is how I arrived at my winning formula that I currently have, right? And I'm sure I'll tweak it. And I'm sure in the upcoming months, I'll change it to something that it works even better, right? So I'm constantly taking a look at the data, I'm constantly tweaking it, and that is extremely important, especially if you're just starting out. The next thing is dropping a big thumbs up. It really helps out with the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. So go ahead and drop a big thumbs up, and let's get back into the video. Now on to the persona. First things first is you want to make sure that you're spending 80% of your time on sales and outreach. That is really what's going to move the needle forward in your agency, especially as you start out. I see so many people spend so much time on different aspects that don't actually matter as much. For example, creating content for their agency or making their socials look amazing, right? That stuff is important, but it's not really going to move the needle forward, because as an agency, what actually generates revenue is signing clients, right? So it's really important that you make sure 80% of your time goes towards the thing that is going to be most impactful. The second thing is the benchmarks. You need to make sure that you break the numbers down and that you're actually very methodical about achieving your goals. The easiest thing to make sure that you're moving forward with your agency is spending time on sales and outreach. And the easiest way to make sure that you're spending time on sales and outreach is by setting clear benchmarks that you need to hit every single day. Guys, once you string a bunch of days where you just hit all those benchmarks, then not only will you start getting results, but you'll gain momentum and confidence. The other reason why I say setting benchmarks is very important is because one of the common struggles that I see people that are starting social media marketing agency and really any business model is that before they get that first client, you're in a bit of a weird situation where you don't feel like an agency owner, right? So when you don't identify as an agency owner, then you don't really take the actions that agency owners will take, right? An agency owner does sales, an agency owner signs clients, right? But psychologically, you don't identify as an agency owner and you tend to procrastinate because you don't feel like that person. It's almost like imposter syndrome actually kicks in. So the easiest way to hold yourself accountable is by setting clear benchmarks and by ticking that off, right? When you accomplish it, tick it off and feel good about yourself, right? If you want, reward yourself for stringing a few days of hitting those benchmarks, and that is how you move forward. That is how you build a system of accountability that is going to move the needle forward within your agency. And the final thing that I want to say is impatience. When I started out, I wanted my first client within those first few weeks. Then I realized that yes, it might work for some people. And look, the first thing that you should be doing is tapping into your network, right? No niche applies for that network. You should just be finding a business owner within your network. And if you have a vast network, then it might be a bit easier to sign the first client. But be patient. Do not subscribe to the get rich quick mentality. That is the way you lose at business, right? It's funny how it works because a lot of people preach that mentality, but that is the exact thing that is preventing you from having success with all these business models that you see. You want it way too fast. Now, I'm not saying you have to pull a Jeff Bezos and wait out 10 years to make a profit with your agency, right? No, because if that happens, you're doing something wrong. The agency is a cash flow business model.
The cash flow.
So it is there to generate cash, but still be patient. Just to give you guys a bit of an idea, it almost took me around 2 to 3 months to sign my first client. And during that whole time, trust me, I was putting in the work. So as long as you're listening to the right people, following the right guidance, putting in the work, setting the benchmarks, tweaking things, iterating according to feedback, looking back at the data, etc., be patient, right? There is a process to this. The final thing that I will say on that point is that the agency journey, it kind of looks like this diagram that I'm sure you've probably seen. This one right here, where most people actually give up right before they get the first client. And the first client, you have to understand that is the hardest client to get, right? It's something that a lot of people struggle to see. The fact that it's not always this hard to get a client as your first client. It's very important that you're patient, that you keep chipping away. Once you sign your first client, you get that momentum, you get that confidence, you get that proof of concept almost. You can use that first client to get the second client as well. And not only that, but you feel like an agency owner, which goes back to the imposter syndrome that I see a lot of agency owners who are just starting out actually feel. So stay patient, stay consistent, and keep chipping away. So guys, that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a big thumbs up. Also, leave down below any comments, any questions you may have on the video, and I'll be sure to check those out. Lastly, if you haven't checked out my free private mentor community, the Client Closers, it's an incredible community full of like-minded people looking to scale their agency and level up in life. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check out the link in the description. And as always, hope everything's going well in your agency journey. Keep chipping away, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.